From an early age, this young girl was powerful beyond her years. At the age of 3, she had endured more heartbreaking and mature experiences than I have in my entire life. And I'm 6 years her senior. For the first 3 years of her life, she played mom to her twin brother, and she mastered it. This was the role thrust upon her when these two precious babies were abandoned at a church, only 18 months old. Shortly thereafter, these beautiful children became part of my family. However, the sense of abandonment still weighed heavily on their hearts. The twins needed a care that it seemed no one understood, and the girl was forced into a role of caretaker for her brother. She would find him a binky when he was crying, or let my mom know when he was hungry. Now, just imagine for a second, this tiny little girl, at such a young age, literally speaking for her twin brother, trying to comfort him and make sure that he was all right. She held so much power over him as they aged, taking on this mother role more and more. However, as her brother matured and grew, he became more independent, and he no longer required the help from her that she had provided when he was so young. She and I never seemed to really get along. Part of the reason was because I was 6 years older than her when she moved in. She was so used to being the oldest and holding an authoritative role over her brother that she felt severely threatened by me. It was always hard for her to watch me play the older brother, especially as her brother became more independent and began to bond with me. As more and more time passed, we constantly found ourselves at odds. You see, she was extremely mature for her age, and she understood bits and pieces of what had happened to her. Yet, she strived to discover more. She was constantly asking about her birth mother, who, after dropping her off, passed away recently from a drug overdose. She yearned for so many answers from this woman that she would never be able to receive. She struggled with an inner demon that would not let her mind be at peace. She was constantly painting different pictures as to who this woman was and why she so seemingly abandoned her children when they were only a little over 1 year old. My sister used to become so frustrated with us because we weren't able to read her mind, and we weren't able to understand what she was thinking or what she was going through. She had suffered so many traumas as an infant and a toddler, and she had no way of illustrating her feelings in a way that any of us could understand. Her frustrations only grew over time as she struggled to let go of her past. As time drew on, she began bullying other children in school and was often sent home for starting fights. This was one of the many manifestations of her struggle to gain power over her inner demon and her troubled past. The fights became more and more frequent and soon began happening at home as well. I remember one night in particular, she was so frustrated with our parents because she was no longer allowed to use the bathroom unaccompanied. The reason behind this was due to the fact that she had tried to cut herself with a razor when she had been alone. As she was brushing her teeth, my mother stood in the doorway, patiently waiting for her to finish. And as she stood there, my sister turned around and screamed at her to go away and leave her alone. Now, my mother is a very tiny woman and stands about 5'2" on a good day. At this point in my sister's life, she was already 5'3", 9 years old, and 110 pounds. To top off the fact that she was already larger than my mother, she had an extremely aggressive demeanor. As my mom proceeded to stand in the doorway after being yelled at, my sister whipped around and punched her square in the face. The rage in my sister's eyes as this was happening was absolutely horrifying, and it appeared as if something had taken over within her. It appeared as if she would kill my mother. That incident was one of many that began to occur within our home. And as these incidents became more and more frequent, my sister grew to be this seemingly monster of a child who had absolutely no control over her emotions and would go from 0 to ballistic within a matter of seconds. For a few months, everyone in my family tiptoed around her, not wanting to aggravate her in any way. Over time, however, her anger and her demons caught up with suicide. As a family, we were broken over the incident, but we decided that enough was enough. My sister was admitted into a psychiatric ward at our local hospital where she was diagnosed with severe bipolar disorder and was later placed into a mental health care center. Since then, she has been in and out of 5 different treatment facilities and is now 15 years old. Along the way, she has struggled with terrible hallucinations and various fictional delusions. Unfortunately, she still self-harms and has a very low self-esteem, making her treatment and possibility of full recovery very challenging. It's hard for me to remember a lot of the good times I had with her because her illness caused so much heartbreak among our entire family. The thing that is even worse is that the pain that we felt was only magnified in her life and even more so in her brother's life. She always longed to be in power, not only of her own life and decisions, but those of her brother and her family. The fact that she didn't get to choose us was, and still is, a struggle for her. She strove for power not only to control her own life and destiny, but the destiny of those surrounding her. I don't think she will ever be able to give up that struggle for power, which is one of the reasons why she is no longer living with us. As sad as that is, it's what's best for her and for us. I can't even begin to fathom what it was like for her to leave our house, but in all honesty, I bet she felt relieved. She was no longer struggling against us and was no longer resisting our love and our help. She was free from us and free from the struggle to control her surroundings. We love her with all of our hearts, but we were not able to provide the care that she needed in her own life. She continues to fight her illness every day, and although she is far away from being at peace, she still has the support of our family and the prayers that one day she will realize that she is loved and that she is beautiful. Every day, I pray that my sister finds peace with her inner demons. I pray that she finds peace in her mind, and more than anything, I pray that she finds peace in her heart. The one thing that I can do, and the one thing that we all can do, is to believe. Believe in these individuals suffering from mental illness, that they will find peace in their own ways.